Fellow nerds, we are talking The Bad Batch, Bad Territory, Episode 8 in the final season of this wonderful show.
8 more to go.
And anytime we get Fennec Shand, or more to the point, Ming Na Ren, as Fennec Shand, you know it's going to be a quality episode. And even though I want to, I'm not going to jump to the end. Because I loved the line when Crosshair's like, "Who's Fee?" "Oh, she's of ancient items." "She's a pirate."
She's a pirate.
Didn't we bring that up last week? Like, where if they were going to bring Fee back?
Yes.
And they did. Boom, right away.
So should we talk
We're on
about
it, man.
Asajj Ventress this week?
We should. Let's make that happen.
That will be on this week.
She's got to come on eventually. I mean, she was like in the trailer. She was a prominent part of the trailer. And that's what everyone was freaking out about. Like, we had all these, Star Wars fans that were like, "Oh, it's ruining Star Wars. There they go, Disney ruining Star Wars again." It's like, we haven't even seen her.
She died
How much
in
you
the
want to bet
book.
it's like?
How is she in the show?
How much you want to bet it's like a flashback? Like, we're gonna see her for 5 seconds and that's it.
The best part
She's
is,
not
though,
even like an integral member.
Lucasfilm knew what was going to happen and had a press release ready for the trailer drop. We know what you people are going to do, so here we go. And
it was
the one thing that I really was like, Bad Batch, you guys are doing a terrible job. Because they're like, "We want information. Why are they looking for, people with M counts?" And I'm like,
They're really dragging that out, man.
come on. You gotta.
It was a little silly. I think whenever I know why they're doing it, right? I know that in the larger galaxy, a lot of the internal Jedi terminology wasn't used. In fact, it's unlikely most people even knew what midichlorian was outside of the Jedi Order. And so now that they're using the more scientific, it's sort of like when they were, in our real world, when they were changing, it's not global warming, it's climate change. How much you want to bet there was like some effort they're not midichlorians, it's a person's M count. And like, nobody knows what the hell this is, so I get why they're doing it, but still, you're really, really dragging that out. Just like have somebody with passing knowledge of Jedi history be like, "Oh, you mean the shit that they track to see how strong the connection to the Force?" Okay, question answered.
And of course, Fennec Shand is smart enough to be like, they were traveling with a special clone who had a bounty on her. Now they're wondering why they're looking for people with M counts. It won't take long for word to get out that Omega is Force sensitive. I mean, whoever she was talking to at the end.
Oh, you jumped to the end.
I did. I said I wasn't going to right away, but you knew I was going to.
I tell you, as soon as I heard Ming Na Wen's voice, that just made the episode better. I mean, it still was kind of a filler episode. Not much happened.
It kind of was, yeah. I'll agree with that.
In the textbook case, textbook definition, yes, it was a filler episode, but it at least fit in with the larger story.
Yeah, it's advancing the story, but slowly.
Slowly, yes,
but
very slowly.
When I hear, do we stand her because everything, she makes everything better.
We stand her top of the chart.
She has a giant statue of Fennec Shand at her home. Like, she's a big old nerd too. I love it.
Yeah, she makes everything she's in.
As far as like the meat of the episode, it was essentially kind of like a heist / abduction episode, if you will, or just like a standard bounty episode. This was the Bad Batch going on a bounty with Fennec Shand as payment to get information. And I'd say textbook definition, this was definitely a bit of a filler, I guess. It wasn't bad by any means. Anything that we get to see some more bounty hunter action throughout the galaxy. We've been kind of sorely lacking it with The Mandalorian, unfortunately. And My guess, if we want to speculate who she was potentially talking to at the end there, I think we really only have two primary choices if they're going to go for the bounty hunters that we actually know. My guess is it's either Boba Fett, maybe she already knows him at this point, I don't know, or it's Cad Bane, but I don't think it's the latter because I don't know that they're really getting along. I'm
No,
not
they
sure
may
how the world of bounty hunters works.
they could be just enemies for that one mission, and then they're
Right.
friends after that. You never know. But they did
Hmm.
have that battle in season one.
That's why I'm wondering, yeah. But I thought for sure that the pace that it felt like it was going, I thought for sure they're gonna drag it out even more with, putting the crew together. But boy, they sorted that out real quick. The fact that she was like, "Oh yeah, I did my research on you guys already, so I already know that you're the tracker and you're the demolition expert." And it's like, "Oh, sweet, cool, wow. Why can't like every heist type episode be like this, where it's like we don't have to spend the time finding the person. Oh yeah, no, I already know. We're
Rebel
good.
Moon vibes.
Let's go." Oh, are you saying, Dave? Dave, are
Dave.
you saying that we didn't need an entire 2.5 hour movie just to put the crew together?
That's what I'm saying. You son of a bitch. I'm in. That's all we
You're
needed.
dumb.
I like how they do all the work. Wrecker even turns around and says, "So we do all the work, and you
It's
get
like,
all the money."
yeah,
She's like, "That's pretty much how it works."
You want that
she had
info?
the
It ain't
leverage.
cheap. I liked it too when she's talking to Rodian, and they're like, "We need information." I'm talking with somebody.
Mm.
It's about get out. We were doing
Yeah,
a deal. It can wait till later
yeah.
because she knew. Because information she is gleaning from her conversations with the Bad Batch is information she can sell.
Yep.
Whether it's to, because think about it, we don't know who she was talking to, but it was probably another bounty hunter of some type that she's working with, a
Hmm.
guild she's working for, possibly, who could be running. It could be, a crime syndicate of some type because they're probably paying bounties. I'm sure they do a lot of work for crime syndicates. But think about it. She's
Oh,
piecing this all together, and we know from the trailer that the Empire attacks Pabu. I think Fennec Shand is the one who is going to give the Empire that information where the Bad Batch basically are and keeping Omega
probably.
because she's going to get a big payday out of it because they pretty much spilled the beans about everything. They were so, "Oh, what happened to the girl you were with?" They were just like, she got away."
Yeah,
She ain't
right.
buying that for a second. She knows they're flat out lying to her, especially, "Oh, why are you looking for M count people?" And she knows enough about each one of them. She knew who the hunter was. She knew who what Wrecker did. She probably knows what Crosshair did. She probably knows Tech. She probably knows Echo.
I think
She
she
knows.
mentioned tech. She said something about your tech guy is gone or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, she did. So she knows dang well why they are wondering about that, because she put it together. Omega is a force sensitive clone.
Oh yeah.
And she's going to sell that information to the highest bidder she can possibly find. And if it's the Empire, she'll have no problems doing it. She's a
Mhm.
bounty hunter. I'm glad. I was so worried when she showed up that all of a sudden she was going to have this soft heart and be like, "Oh, you know, I did let her go and she seemed sweet, even though the bounty was called up." But she's like, "The only reason I backed off is because the bounty was pulled. I ain't working for free." And if they would have tried to soften her up or anything, especially this early, we know
Mhm.
she's still a bounty hunter after Return of the Jedi because we saw it in The Mandalorian. So I was happy that they kept her just a cold, calculating bounty hunter at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah, and she's colder than Boba Fett in the new, in the book of Boba Fett, she was more badass than he was. So she's not just like going to develop this big heart and everything. It's all about the money.
Now, while we're talking about, in this episode, she talked about his name was Siler Saris. And she said he worked for the Haxian Brood. Do you know where
Mm.
we've heard that before?
That sounds really familiar. No,
Was it
remind me.
Solo?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Ah,
Ah,
There were bounty hunters in that game from there that you had to fight. I saw that and I was like, wait, is that those guys? And I ended up looking it up because I'm, like 100.
yeah.
I was like, I think that's the guys from it. And I looked it up. I was like, they're sneaking in Fallen Order stuff. Little Easter
I
eggs in
love
here.
it
That was
when
awesome.
they tie everything in. Yeah, when they tie everything in from the books and the video games, that's pretty awesome.
That's one thing that makes it nice when you don't get 7 movies a year, 47 TV series. They can keep it tighter like that. They're not mass producing things, kind of like how the MCU was going down for a little bit. It's able to keep it a lot more fitting and a better flow to it all when they do it that way. So
Yeah.
And you get higher quality. They don't poop in your mouth and call it gold or whatever that thing is. A Sunday, yeah. Who'd want gold in their mouth anyway?
somebody
I don't
probably
know.
there's a
What was
Trump?
the creature that they were hunting?
Oh,
I
what
forget.
kind of alien was he?
Yeah.
He was like a praying mantis.
It took a lot of stun blast to put that thing down. A
Yeah.
lot.
He had some energy.
Clearly. You know what it reminded me of though? When Anakin was training Ahsoka with the clones and how far along that she got, like over the years. It would take several blasts before they finally knocked her out.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. That was from Tales of the Jedi, wasn't it?
Yep. Excellent
Yeah.
series.
Yes, it was. Now the question is, after we saw Fennec Shand talking to whoever it was she was talking to about that, will she provide that information to the Bad Batch?
I doubt it.
Because she was, you have to trust me. I'm an honest person, and I wonder if she'll be like, "Oh, here's that information you were asking for," and someone might be showing up on Pabu here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I might have said something to somebody. You might want to get out of
No, and I
here.
mean, they would have to. She'd be like, "Hey, I deal in information sometimes, and you guys gave me a very
Very
good.
useful information.
A lot of people were willing to pay me a lot of money to know this. Sorry, guys, nothing personal."
Now, Keith, you brought up something that I kind of forgot about because I remember them mentioning it in her premiere episode in The Mandalorian when she first showed up, that she did work for several crime syndicates. I totally forgot about that. That was one of the reasons why they were after her, because now she was wanted, now that the New Republic had taken over.
Yeah.
They had arrested all of the people that she used to work with. Which crime syndicate do you think she might be working for? Think it's like
Red
the
Dawn.
Pikes? Do you think it's anything that we've seen before?
Aren't all the crime syndicates being consolidated right now at this point by a certain?
I believe they are by perhaps an individual we already know.
A certain horny devil.
I think you're right. What is his name? Kenobi. No, his name's not Kenobi.
He likes to
I'm
say
not-
that name.
I'm not saying he's going to show up, but we're definitely going to see Darth Maul.
100%.
You think?
100%.
Especially think about it. It would be a good time because right now we know he just wants to stop the Emperor in any of his plans and whatever he's doing. So if he gets that information from Fennec, maybe not directly from Fennec, but whoever she's talking to, he knows that the Emperor wants this, little clone, this, Kiwi clone, and he's going to be like, "Oh, I have to have it now." And as long as they get
Space
Sam
Zero.
Witwer to do the voice again, I cannot
yeah.
wait to see him again.
I mean, they'll bring him back as much as they can. Really, when you think about it, he is one of the biggest arcs in Star Wars now, just because of the animated series. And he's got one of the most complete stories. They're just it's such a good story. That
Him and
Darth Maul
Ahsoka.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. background on my computer
And yes,
for the
Attack on
last 6 years.
Thank you, one, for coming out, and two, yes, everyone was more badass than Boba in that series.
Yeah.
I've decided I'm just gonna be a talker.
That's what
No,
I'm going
that's
to
not
do.
why I'm watching this show.
I think
Right.
Fennec was running his criminal empire more than he was.
And you
Yeah.
forgot the Vespa people.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm sorry. They were working really hard practicing that spin and shoot move.
It adds power to the laser dart because you spin, it's gaining
Sure.
momentum. It's like when you
Oh,
spin your
yeah.
mouse so your computer will speed up.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Okay.
No, what that's really that you spin your mouse to let everyone know you're awake. Isn't that right, Ray? Is Ray watching today? I
It's funny
don't know how
because
he mastered that while he was asleep.
people in the warehouse that we used to, well, Dave used to work for, but Doug and I still do. They have a oscillating fan tied to the mouse, so it just moves the mouse. I'm like, oh my god, that is genius. They're like, yeah,
That
we
is.
know.
It really is. Jeez.
Yep, Ray would just like, and then he would move the mouse, and oh, I'm awake.
Hmm.
But getting back to Doug's point, and I kind of was almost going down this same route a little bit, and maybe why we have a flashback with Asajj Ventress a little bit. We may, we all, I think that this is going to end on a bad note for
Mhm.
The Bad Batch.
And we always thought it was going to be the Empire that did it. What if it is the crime syndicate with Maul that really kind of puts him down and maybe even captures Omega in some way? And kind of holds her either one for ransom or Maul wants to start training her. Because we know when, oh my God, from Rebels, why can't I think of the kid? Ezra. When Ezra comes around, he wants to become his master. And he kind of calls him apprentice. So if he finds out there's a Force sensitive out there, especially a clone of Jango Fett, he might want to. The reason we don't hear from Omega through Rebels, through Rogue One, through the prequels, through what we've seen of the Mandalorian. Well, I guess he died in Rebels, so I guess if he did have her, we could see her. But maybe that's what gets her out. He may capture Omega. He may destroy the Bad Batch and take Omega. And maybe we get a new, because I'm really hoping we get a new animated series announcement after this is over. Because I don't think anyone does animated series as well as Lucasfilm. It always ties into canon. It's always excellent. With Filoni working on it, he's not always writing and everything, but he always has the head content creator, over at Lucasfilm, he'll have his hand in it. We could get something really interesting with Omega being held by Maul and maybe trying to train her. And maybe she's going to be a completely different person if we ever see her in live action because of it.
And Attack on Show, yes,
Omega
there's
3.
still a lot of time until Maul's death. And Luke, I don't even think he's 5 at this point. The Bad Batch. This takes place like right at the beginnings of the Empire, like right after Revenge of the
No, I
Sith.
think he was asking how old was Luke when
when Maul
Obi-Wan
died.
killed Maul. And yeah, he probably would have been actually probably older than that.
Yeah, I think he was
because
a little bit.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan by that point was already looking a little older.
because
Leia was 10 on that series, right? So that means Luke was 10.
yeah, you're right. She was 10. So he was 10. So this is only a few years after. So
Yeah.
he could have her for 7, 8, 9 years working with her. She could even be a Sith by the time we meet her again.
Ooh.
I don't think Luke's
That would
She
be
could
nice.
be. Hold on, Dave. Get ready. Get ready to reel me in.
All right. Guess
Okay.
in the line.
Omega is going to become Snoke.
That's going all the way back. All right. Yep,
Yeah.
right there. No, sir.
He says, no, when Maul dies, he was a kid running around. I'd have to. I do remember
Ray's
I remember
grandma.
Baru yelling for Luke, saying, Luke, time to come in. I don't remember how little he looked, though. But I do remember the age that Obi-Wan looked. He already had his white hair. He was looking close to the point where, because I know that Rebels takes place and that happened in Rebels. Rebels takes place shortly before Luke, before A New Hope. It takes place what, a couple of
A
years
couple years
before.
before, and this is just
And
Obi-Wan took
by A
place
New
5
Hope,
years after.
By A New Hope, Luke was 17, 18.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that at this point, maybe they accidentally pictured him as a little kid because he should have been around 15 or 16 at that point. I would
No,
say.
and Obi-Wan, he should have been, because Obi-Wan took place
No,
10.
not Obi-Wan. I'm talking about when Maul died.
We didn't see Luke when Maul died.
We didn't see him at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
Remember, Maul said, like, why are you on this planet? Are you protecting something or someone?
And they never finished that conversation.
They didn't. Obi-Wan just killed him. I mean, didn't have the courtesy to finish that conversation. I mean, these Jedi, I'm telling you. You know what, Attack on Show? I'll have to watch it again. I didn't remember him
Same.
being in that episode.
Yeah, I don't either.
Once again, it's come up twice now. I'm like 100, so my memory isn't what it was. But I'll have to look again because if he's oh, thank you, Attack on Show's checking, because if he was super young in that episode, he should have been because he was born at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and by Rebels, Rebels took place what?
16 years later?
12 or 13 years after, or 10. So he should have been at least, no, Obi-Wan took place 10 years after.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And Rebels took place 5 years after that, so he would have been like 15 or so, probably.
That's what I'm saying. Because I know Rebels took place shortly before A New Hope.
Yeah, and then in A New Hope, it was like he had one more year of working on the farm. So I'm guessing he was like 18. Because then he could leave the farm if he wanted to. That's my guess. I always thought he was 20, but 18 sounds more, now that we're talking about it. Doing research, folks.
Yeah, taking a look here.
Please.
I want to know the exact times of all of these things. Let's see. This looks like a good one. Okay, so Rebels. No, stop it. Okay, there we go. Rebels.
They show him, he says.
Oh, they do show him. Okay.
Huh,
yeah, Rebels takes place. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obi-Wan is 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12. Rebels takes place between 12 and 16 years between the seasons, 12 to 16 years after Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, he would have been, because that was in the 3rd season, from very far away, but he's a little kid running around.
Right.
So yeah, he shouldn't have been that little.
Yeah, that is weird. I just skipped ahead. I looked up a clip of it on YouTube, and yeah, he looks like a kid. It's kind of odd. I don't know why they would picture him that way because, yeah, by this point he should have been, I would say, around 15 or 16.
And yeah, you're right. They did age Obi-Wan a little too much to that
They
episode.
might have, yeah.
They were trying to bridge the gap from Ewan McGregor to Alex Guinness. And,
yeah. I think they just overcompensated a bit. Too much of that desert sand, You know what they say about sand.
It's coarse.
It gets in everything.
And that's why we hate it.
Yes. And sand, nope, I'm not going there. Never mind.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. I'll refrain.
Well, any other theories, comments? I think we hit the nail on the head, gentlemen. I think we're going to see the crime syndicate and Maul, and everyone's going to be shocked, except for us and all of our fans. All of our fans.
Anybody who
All of our fans.
any of the 5 people watching this right now will
I assume Tundra Walker is not included. He's not our fan.
I don't think he's here
You
anymore.
left. He wanted to do Bears jokes. We didn't do any. He left.
He's still a little salty that we raised the prices for our voices. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he was
Well, he's
abusing
got
them.
to. He needs to stay and accumulate the points. Then he can use them.
that's right.
Exactly. You have to earn those points to get us
Earn
to, in the middle of a deep conversation about a movie or a show, break and do some goofy voice.
You have to earn it.
But all right, should we rate this fine episode, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll
Okay,
go.
I'll go first. Beat you to it. While I will not say anything on this show, any episode is under a 5. I mean, I think it's definitely worth the watch.
hmm
But at the same time, this wasn't the best episode. It was kind of like I said, it was kind of a filler, and it was in another sense filling in the blanks for what's coming up. It was a setup episode. It's setting up what's coming next, which is okay. They can have those,
Yeah.
even if it's a little bit, less action or less things happening. But they did set up. They did set up future episodes. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. Doug?
I'm with you right there, Dave. I got to give it a 6.5 as well. I pretty much agree with every point that you made. Yeah, it's a good series. It wasn't a terrible episode. It just again, it was one of those where take it or leave it kind of things. Like I probably wouldn't have missed much having not seen that episode and going into the next one. I think the main thing that it sets up is, who Fennec Shand is talking to at the end. And honestly, I would have rated it a 6. But because of Ming-Na Wen, I had to boost it up to that extra 0.5. So yeah.
Yeah, she does bring gold to whatever she touches.
See,
Keith, you're next.
even though this was technically a filler episode, I do think it gave a lot that they're going to build on. I think it's going to explain how the Bad Batch basically get found so quickly because they reached out to Fennec Shand. Not while the whole chase for this bounty with her isn't going to impact anything. I do think it has the potential to really lead us into that end of the season, and I do
So
think
are you about to base your rating on its potential?
no.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just defending it as just being a base filler episode. But I did enjoy it. It was nice seeing, Hunter and Wrecker interact with Fennec Shand and them get the bounty, and it not be an easy bounty. Her needing their help. If they would have just walked in and, knocked him out and took him out, it wouldn't have been. It would have been like that's kind of a lot. But like you said, it took multiple, stun shots to take him out, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a quality episode. Once again, not the best Bad Batch episode, and I agree with Dave. I don't think any of them have been under a 5. I'm going to give it a 7. I thought it was enjoyable. Wasn't anything spectacular. Nothing, knocked my socks off. But it was a good, solid Bad Batch episode. And I think it's going to lead us into the end of the season. And it's going to be, looked back on it with fondness.
hmm
Attack on Show gives it a 6. So right along with you guys, close to me too. Sierra says I
feel like
rated
it
a
needs to
1.
get going. What?
Sarah says I
A
rated a
1?
1. Sierra, did you watch the episode? Are you just
Did you not even watch?
Sabine wasn't in this episode.
Yeah, Sabine's not. Sabine's not on the Bad Batch. It's okay to like it.
So what is she saying? If Sabine was, it'd be a 0?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, and there are 15 episodes this season, so we have 7 left. But an Attack on Show, I hear what you're saying. It feels like it needs to get going, and it does. And this may be the catalyst that does it, because she's going to sell this information for a lot of money, and it's going to bring the Empire or the Crime Syndicate to put Pabu, and it's going to push that forward. So we got 7 episodes left, so they do got to get into this, and I think it's going to start. The heat is going to be put on them pretty soon.
The only thing that I wonder, though, with this being the final season of the Bad Batch, are we going to get as heart-wrenching of an episode as we did with the final season of the Clone Wars,
I think so.
because that ending with Ahsoka basically making graves for all of her friends, and then Vader picking up the lightsaber that he had given to her when he was still Anakin. Like, that every time I see that scene, that gets me right there, man.
I
That
don't
was a
know if they
perfect ending.
can. And the only reason I'm
Right.
saying that, I think it'll be hopefully, a good ending and it'll be a little heart wrenching. But they had like 7 seasons to build that up.
Yeah, fair.
And talking, the clones and, how they were, when they painted their helmets to look like Ahsoka before the
Hmm.
Siege of Mandalore too. And then, oh my God, that was like,
And it's like the thing is like the entire time we knew what was coming too. That was the worst part, knowing what was coming.
Yeah, and we kind of know what's coming here. We
Yeah.
kind of know that like most of them are not going to make it.
Well, considering once Rebels comes around, we only see like three of the clones hanging around in that walker. So it's like,
Yeah.
and
You know
none of
what
them
would
are from the
blow?
Bad Batch.
well, though, think about it though. One of them was who Echo went to get, and the other one was leading the squad who was hunting them.
Yep,
Hmm.
Wolf.
So we may
And
see, him joining up with them. And I think we talked about it the other week. He's going to probably join with Rex. I'm hoping before the end of the Bad Batch, since we do know they end up together by the time Rebels comes around. So that'd be nice to see.
would it blow your mind if Omega didn't make it?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I think it
Not
would.
really.
That would be highly unexpected. It wouldn't blow your mind, Doug? You
If
think
she didn't make it, no.
no?
No, I foresee this not having a very happy ending.
Huh. But she would be the one out of any of them to continue on, I think. So if she bites it, that would blow my mind. I wouldn't know what
It
to
would
think.
certainly, if she didn't make it, it would slow down the Emperor's progress.
And honestly, and like, Attack on Show says I'd be good with that. I would be too. Like if
Hmm.
she sacrificed herself to save any of the Bad Batch, especially knowing that one, it would slow down, Project Necromancer probably quite a bit since she's the only one who's had the blood. I
Yeah.
mean, I like Dave said, I'm expecting her to be the one that makes it, and she's going to be, show up later on. So if they turn it on me, and the twist is she ends up dying at the end of the Bad Batch to save any of them, I would be like, one, I'm shocked, and two, wow, thank you for making me think this is, a character you want to pull into live action and do all that and have that twist. That would be
Mhm.
that would be gutsy, and if I hope they do it now. Not that I have anything against Omega, but that would be a lot of people would be like, "What?"
It'd be what a twist.
She gets eaten by the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, that's a
Ah,
good Attack on Show is a great point. He says that could be what gets Wolf to join Rex.
oh,
That
because he
is
he did raise the concern. What are we doing? Are we really going after a kid? Yeah.
Yeah, and he had the guts to let him go, knowing that when he goes back to the Empire, they're
Hmm.
gonna get punished for that.
well, the whole
In
squad
that
let him go
episode of
too.
Rebels, who was it that called the Empire on Ezra and them? Wasn't one of them? Was it Wolf?
You mean to get Thrawn?
No,
No, no,
no.
no,
When
no.
they
In
were
that episode of Rebels, one of
Right.
them contacted the Empire because they still felt like a sense of duty or something, I thought. I don't remember what
maybe
it
it was a
What's
was.
the
Wolf.
third one? Gregor was the third one?
Yeah, he was the kind of one who kind of had an open head injury. I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Wolf. I think you're right, Doug.
Hmm.
So even though he joined with Rex, I mean, maybe the Empire decides, he's a clone, he doesn't need him anymore. So he knows, Rex is. Oh, Attack on Show thought it was Gregor.
Might have been.
Yeah, it might have been.
Don't remember.
I'll have to watch Rebels again.
Ah, what a shame, man.
Terrible, terrible.
Yeah. Crying out loud. That'd be terrible.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.